right, so my name is Peter Adeleke, and I just broke the Guinness World Record for the longest leadership lesson. And I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I was able to achieve the great feat, how I was able to break the Guinness World Record for the longest leadership lesson ever. 28 hours of teaching, that's a lot. You know, from the idea conception to the inspiration, the conviction, and how everything went. It was such an extraordinary time and moment for me. And it began from the initial brainstorming. What if I could, break the Guinness World Record? I was reflecting, what if I could do that? And my field is leadership. So I was curious and I decided to, go online to make some research about records, about leadership. And I was speaking with my team about it. There's a quote by Benjamin Franklin: if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So we started planning, strategizing to see how this can be possible. And looking at a field like leadership, it's something that has to, show that sense of excellence. There's a quote by Miles Monroe. He said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So you guys know that everything begins with why, just like Simon Sinek would say, it starts with why. And for me, I would just say that the longest leadership lesson represents a commitment to cultivate leaders who think boldly, who act boldly and live with purpose, basically. And while I was reflecting and planning, the purpose of this lesson was to raise the bar in leadership development, to spark discussions around leadership conversations. Absolutely, and we're able to achieve that because the challenge was something that was really, really challenging for me or myself as a teacher, and of course, stretching the participant beyond the limits, helping us to think strategically and embrace responsibility for leadership. Just like Winston Churchill would say that the greatness is seen in responsibility. And I was like, why leadership though? So it was born in my heart to look at something that was, very, very impossible, right? It came from a deep desire to push boundaries of leadership education and create an unforgettable impact and to create a ripple effect. For me, over the years, I've always been, interested in changing the narratives of leadership, and we're able to achieve that. So the longest leadership lesson is an embodiment of what it means to be a true trailblazer, leading with courage, with resilience, charting, uncertainty and breaking barriers and leaving a legacy behind. That was what I was particular about, what impact will this record make? What footprint am I going to leave to the next generation? And we're able to achieve that. So it's more about inspiring people to rise above difficulty and embrace purpose as leaders. And that is very expedient in leadership. There's a quote by Nelson Mandela. He said, it always seems impossible until it's done. And that's true, absolutely. It was impossible until we were able to achieve it. The previous record was 24 hours and we applied to the Guinness World Records January 13 this year. And we got approved February 14th this year. And after the approval, what next was to try and see how we can source for funds, sponsorship and the likes. And we created a GoFundMe, and we also have a lesson plan because the Guinness World Record team were we had to submit our lesson plan for them to approve the topics and the outline on how it's going to go, the structure for 1 hour of full activity and 5 minutes break. But we decided to go for 4 hours of full activity and 20 minutes break. That's absolutely a lot. And when we submitted the lesson plan, it was approved March 5 by the Guinness World Record team. And initially, because I do get a lot of questions like, why did you guys stop? Why didn't you guys do 48 hours? Well, we have to consider the nature of where we are. We're in Canada here, and for you to hold people for that long, it's a lot. It's a lot. So 48 hours was a big limit for us to have a solid plan. And we realized that we planned for 48 hours, but we didn't do 48 hours because of the nature of people in Canada here. The peculiarity of Canada here is quite unique because for you to be able to hold people for 48 hours, it takes a lot, right? So when I discussed with the team, I was like, the current record is 24 hours. So we can just do 30 hours, which is achievable because, planning this kind of event involved a lot in terms of resources, in terms of finances. We spent over $30,000 for this event. So I told my team that the most important thing is for us to break the Guinness World Record. So if the current record is 24 hours, of course we can just go above 24 hours, and that was it. How was I able to form the team, the core team for the vision? That's a very interesting question because sharing the vision with people was the most important thing for me to get people to build a team with. So forming the core team for me was really a lot. I reached out to a couple of friends, I reached out to church members, colleagues, school colleagues, families, neighbors, Caucasians that I know. I reached out to a lot of people here in Canada to see how we can achieve this vision. And I was able to assemble my team, starting from the project manager, the technical director, the financial and welfare coordinator. We also had the volunteer mobilization team, the social media coordinator, the health and wellness team, the prayer team, and the content team also. So I realized that at the beginning, a lot of people who started this project with us didn't stay to the end because along the line, some people lost focus, and I was surprised. People they showed commitment from the beginning. Some got busy with work, some ghosted and left the team. But one thing I always know in life is that in life, subtraction is multiplication in disguise. So some people initially were caught up in the moment, than the movement, and some people were just like had this initial excitement without like understanding that leadership is all about responsibility. And like I always say, there is a big difference between excitement and reality. Reality is hard work, the sacrifice and the discipline. People need to understand that it's not about the excitement, it's about the reality, and the reality is the responsibility. And I understand that leadership sometimes, comes with moments like these, moments when people's excitement don't match their endurance. So I didn't let that discourage my vision. I kept on. And for me, regarding people management, one of the things I learned that you can't lead people beyond your leadership skill. You can't lead people beyond your credibility and the trust level you have with them. And you can't lead people beyond your level of commitment. I also learned that you can't lead people longer or further than they are willing to follow, and you can't lead people faster than they are willing to go. So that's it. You have to just understand how the dynamics work, and that would help you to know how you're going to lead people. You must understand that you cannot light the fire of purpose in people who choose to remain in the dark, right? You can't lead people beyond the level they are willing to go with you. You can't inspire growth in others beyond the level they are willing to stretch. Sponsorship, right, and strategic partnership. Talking about partnership was a very difficult one. We reached out to a couple of people that we know in Calgary, and some were receptive, some were not. One of the team we got response from was from Campbell's College. Campbell's College is a college that is in downtown Calgary. It's a very interesting school, and they were really supportive. In fact, they even offered for us to use the school as part of the venue for the project, which is they gave us a very good support, a very good school at downtown Calgary. Also, we got support from Delish Dining, one of the African restaurants in Calgary, focused on West African dishes like you've never had before in Calgary, and their office is at Southeast Calgary. We also got support from Lead Group. Lead Group is a leading independent financial professional company, and they are focused on serving families and individuals with businesses, basically focused on insurance and investment vehicles to maximize assets based for personal and corporate structures. Yes. We also got support from TMT Learning Foundation. Special shout out to Mrs. Moji Taiwo. She's really great, amazing woman, committed to providing accessible and inclusive, cutting-edge learning opportunities that empower individuals and immigrant families to succeed in their personal and professional lives. We also got support from Jennick Fright. Oh my goodness! Shout out to Jennick Fright. Global Logistics Services. They're into freight forwarding services and across the world, into ocean freight, air freight, basically worldwide ocean, air, and ground shipping of exporting, a lot of brokerage and the likes. We got support from Tribes Catering. They helped us with a lot of amazing dishes, diverse taste of Nigerian cuisine to amazing culinary experience. We also got support from Northmont Baptist Church. As a matter of fact, we used the church for the location of the event, and amazing church. Thank you so much. We also got support from Timtope Olukunle. He's also into mortgages and sales, and he's also a credit underwriter and mortgage specialist with keen interest in helping clients grow their wealth and helping in that aspect. We also got support from Cracks TV. Cracks TV is Africa's top content creators and curators, and they're focused on creating content that is relevant and engaging. We also got support from Wido. As a matter of fact, they were involved in the graphic design and the live streaming of the project. Thank you, Wido. We also got support from the Federation of Catholic Communities. They helped us with the likes of the projector. They gave us like projectors for the event. Really amazing people.
My name is Bukunluwa Oyekon, and I was the financial and welfare coordinator of this project, Guinness World Project. I would say it was an impactful journey for me, and more importantly, a learning curve, a powerful learning curve for me, where I learned a lot. I learned the importance of resilience. I learned not giving up. Not to give up. It helped me in a lot of ways. I remember while as a financial coordinator, I had to send proposals, reach out to prospects, and of course, there were few turndowns. Of course, it would have served as a discouragement, right? But I refused to be discouraged because I believed so much in the vision when Peter told me about it. I knew that it was doable. I knew it was achievable. And so I still pressed on, sent more proposals, and thankfully we got positive responses of people that actually liked the idea, loved the vision, and became sponsors for the event. The financial coordinator was also in charge of the budget and expenses, and in total we spent $30,000, of which the money was used basically for logistics, for food, promotions, because we had to create awareness on different social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, now known as X, and Facebook as well, different social media platforms. So, and it was also used for photography, more of like to cover the whole event, as to right from the start, from the onset till the very end. And it was also used for transportation, application and submission fees, Guinness World Record application and submission fees, and other logistics, other miscellaneous expenses, other logistics. It's not possible for one to have expenses, right, without having the income to pay those expenses. And so part of the means of how we got the income we got the income was GoFundMe from people that donated, individuals, of which we really appreciate everyone who donated towards the this vision, who believed in this vision and donated towards it. And also we also had corporate donations from corporate organizations, corporate organizations who believed in this vision. And that was how we're able to that's how we're able to raise income to be able to pay these expenses.
So how was the pre-event preparations like for the Guinness World Record attempt? I'm going to start by saying that every great achievement rests on the unseen foundation of preparation. And as John C. Maxwell will say, a leader is one who knows the way, who goes the way, and shows the way. So the success of the just concluded Guinness World Record leadership lesson was not about spending hours teaching, but about months of planning, coordinations behind the scenes. At first, we had the challenge of securing the venue. It took us a while to be able to secure a venue, and we were able to face that challenge because of the peculiarity of Canada. I'm going to explain that. Yes. So initially, I wanted us to use like some conference halls, like seminar, not even a church setting actually. But I realized that most of the conference centers, the meeting rooms, were not designed to operate overnight. Being a marathon, we needed to, keep having the sessions overnight. So, but most of the conferences here in Calgary, the meeting rooms were not designed to operate overnight. So this was like a significant concern. And they were like, since we're running a continuous leadership lesson through the night, it's something out of the norm. It's something, unusual. And for weeks, for months, we kept on, sending proposals, trying to get a space that was suitable, achievable, realistic, and affordable. But it kind of seemed impossible. But just when I felt like the vision might be delayed, um, through a friend of mine, we were able to reach out to Northmont Baptist Church, and they stepped in and they welcomed us and they opened the doors for us. The second thing I will talk about in the pre-event preparations that we had was we had a countdown, 48 days countdown with leadership quotes. So to help build the momentum, we launched 48-hour countdown campaigns across social media, and we used a lot of world-renowned, powerful quotes of great leaders serving as a beacon of inspiration. And each of these quotes, served as a memorable and remarkable one, helping to, remind the audience and, pitch the vision to the audience to understand the essence of what is coming. So it wasn't just about a countdown, it's a rallying cry. And I was glad because this strategy was able to, engage the audience on social media, and it also helped to align with the identity of the event with timeless leadership wisdom. The third thing I will talk about under the pre-event preparation, and I will talk about the call for volunteers. Manpower is very important, particularly when it comes to a large-scale settings like this.
My name is Shayton, and I wanted to tell you a bit about my experience with the Guinness World Record for the longest leadership lesson. So, I had previously heard about this particular goal from Mr. Peter, and he had essentially just explained to me the vision behind leadership and becoming an agent of leadership. And I thought that this was something that I wanted to jump on board with, as I am someone who is in leadership in different spheres of my life. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to just step up and learn more. So in this particular event, I was the timekeeper coordinator, which was a very interesting role to take on. But nonetheless, I'm glad I took on the role. This role has taught me a lot about time management, accuracy, and precision, especially with the fact that the Guinness World Record enterprise deals a lot with precision and clarity. Yes, and for this specific event, this was a event dealing a lot with time, and any little mistake, any little, I guess, oversight can mess up the entire thing, can mess up the flow of the entire operation. So I definitely learned quite a lot. So before the event, I was in charge. Oh, I was the timekeeper coordinator, by the way. I was in charge of coming up with schedules for the event, just working with the coordinators and kind of formulating the schedules for the event and the participants as well, just kind of ensuring that the whole event is seamless. So we had to plan the breaks, we had to plan the sessions, and even down to the arrival times, just to ensure that everything was smooth and was seamless. I also had to come up and work with the timekeepers and the witnesses, just ensuring that everyone understands what their role is and how to be efficient the best way possible. This also means working with the different departments as well, the media team, the welfare team, just all the different teams in general. Now, during this specific event, it was amazing. It was fantastic. Just kind of seeing everyone in action, especially the timekeepers and the witnesses, man, it was amazing. I knew a lot went into timekeeping, but it just shows you this specific role just shows you how much you have to be very, very detail oriented. Yeah. But the event in its entirety was amazing. I specifically learned so much about leadership values, leadership styles, the styles I particularly I'm drawn near to. We learned about emotional intelligence, and then even heard a few quotes from the original Mr. Peter. So it was definitely a great one to behold. If you weren't there, you missed out. So I just want to challenge, everyone to please go ahead, if you can, purchase Born to Lead, Called to Serve. And you can learn so much. I think this event was amazing. It was a success, and I will be forever grateful that I actually took the time out and partook in this event. So congratulations, Mr. Peter, and congratulations to the entire team. Well done.
Volunteers were giving customized printed t-shirts, which made the work more visible, united, and approachable. And the shirts, bore the inscription Trailblazer, which means you're a unique personality, charting a landmark. And these small touches kind of amplify the sense of ownership and pride among the volunteers.
Hey there, my name's Daniel. I'm a journalist in Westlock, Alberta, just north of Edmonton, and I was also the social media coordinator for Peter Adeleke in his Guinness World Record for the longest leadership lesson. So basically, what my role was I was coordinating the social media for Peter. A little bit prior to the event, I began posting countdowns. So 48 days prior to the event, I would do daily posts as the event drew closer and closer. Just giving inspirational leadership quotes. And then during the event, I was making hourly posts, just providing updates on how the event was going, what the different lessons were about, and things like that. And for most of the event, I was working by myself on updating the social media and things like that. But I also had a couple volunteers helping me, which I appreciated a lot. So shout out to them. I love my volunteers. And it was definitely difficult for me because I had to stay awake for most of the 30 hours. But it was very rewarding, because we ended up breaking Guinness World Record, which is like very unique experience for me. So, and I'm sure for everyone else. So yeah, thanks to everyone who contributed to the project for making it possible. And congratulations, Peter Adeleke, for breaking the Guinness World Record for the longest leadership lesson.
I'm going to say that no great vision thrives in isolation. It must be shared and amplified by, people who carry the hearts of service. And so for this project, the marketing was like the bridge that turned the idea into a movement. And to spread the word, we reached out, to the community. We reached out to a lot of places. We went to different events like community clubs. We went to different restaurants, and of course, the religious community also helped us in pushing this. I remember we went to Stampede. We reached out to a lot of people to we had to mobilize people for this project. We did a lot of mobilization for the project, and we ensured that participants registered using the Eventbrite link, scanning the QR code. As a matter of fact, we're dealing with the future of leadership, right? So young people represent the next generation of leaders. So we had to reach out to different campuses, universities, and like Montreal, U of C, trying to create that awareness and also. And each stop was like an opportunity for us to connect, to inspire and recruit volunteers, participants that are eager to be part of this history.
My name is Praise. I was a prayer coordinator for the Guinness World Record attempt by Mr. Peter Adeleke, longest leadership lesson. So I was prayer coordinator, and so part of my function was, so prior to the event, which was August 29th, we had prayers every Thursdays at 8 p.m. So we gathered together to pray every 8 p.m. online. Thursdays leading up to the event, and then in August we also had I believe 2 to 3 weeks of fasting, or 2 weeks of fasting leading up to the event. I'm just praying about the event and asking God for favor in the sight of men, in the sight of the officials, just praying about unity, praying about different things, and God really showed up for us. Irrespective of everything that happened on that day, I think like just because prayer power had already went ahead of us, we've already sort of saturated the atmosphere with prayer. And even prior to the event, so the day before the event, the prayer team went there to pray over the event, pray over the venue as well. So there was a lot of prayer power that went ahead, and God really showed up and showed out. And we are really grateful for what God did, even during that day and afterwards. But yeah, so that was pretty much my role. After on the day of the event, we had some prayers. It was really a really packed event, but we also like prayed before the event and also prayed during the events as well. And yeah, so we're so grateful for what God did. Words cannot emphasize God's goodness and just his favor. And yeah, Mr. Peter Adeleke was successful with the attempt. We were successful, and we're just so grateful to God for what he did. Yeah, thank you.
We also did some Facebook and Instagram ads, trying to like get people and gaining that international attention. Of course, we also collaborated with some bloggers and social media influencers because we need to understand the power of digital storytelling. So we had to partner with this group of people who helped us also spark the global conversations and also contributed to the event trending #1 on X on Twitter on August 30th, the day of the event. We also tapped into the community clubs in Calgary, reached out to CEOs, reached out to politicians, entrepreneurs, artists. We even reached out to the mayor of Calgary and other persons too. So basically, the efforts poured into the likes of the publicity was more than marketing. It was leadership in action. And it helped us to understand that, we have to speak the people's language and show them why the cause matters. John Quincy Adams said something. He said, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, and do more, and become more, you are a leader. So we're able to mobilize through grassroots effect, and it became a success. Still on the pre-event preparations, a unique part of this preparation was the content development. And one of the most demanding parts of this event was the content development. How to create slides, create PowerPoint and Menti quiz that was spanned for 30 hours. That was a lot of work for me and the team, right? And I couldn't do that alone without the help of the team because it was a lot of work, a lot of work. And to be teaching for 30 hours, you have to have enough content. Like Abraham Lincoln would say, he says, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. So creating the content was part of sharpening the axe, and it took months of hard work. Drafting the lesson plans and ensuring that there's depth, there's flow for the marathon was really a lot of work. And my goal was to ensure that leadership education is taken to the next level. So crafting content that will educate and sustain that interactive engagement for hours was part of what I had in mind. We were able to cover a lot of topics like redefining leadership, qualities and values of great leaders, leadership theories, laws of leadership, leadership styles. We looked at case studies like Elon Musk, Joyce Meyer, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. We did a lot of work, honestly. As a matter of fact, we even looked at, bad leadership styles like, manipulative and toxic kind of leadership. We're able to contrast between management and leadership. We looked at the price and cost of leadership. We looked at leading change. We looked at navigating crises. We looked at building high performance teams. A lot of work, man. And then we ended with becoming an agent of transformation in your sphere of influence. Very enriching session, and drafting such an extensive material was really demanding, so demanding. It took us, continuous efforts basically to unlock all these. So one of the most interesting aspects based on the Guinness World Record guidelines was to make the sessions very interactive. Right, that's why we had to ensure that we had quizzes and tests for participants, and those quizzes and tests were designed to keep participants actively engaged while reinforcing the lessons taught. And after each topic, we ensure that they answered questions. So still on the pre-event preparations, we also had to do a mini mock. We had to go to the venue to, test some of our equipment, technical setups and rehearsals. So we kind of tested the sound system, and to ensure that the live stream was working well and ensure that everything worked out well. So on how I was able to build resilience and stamina, that was a very interesting one. I had to, enroll in the gym. I had to enroll in the gym, go gym, and every day I started going out to the gym to work out, treadmill. It was fun time meeting great minds in the gym. I had to also mentally prepare, and part of mentally preparing required me to also visually, create a visual mindset about how the day is going to be like, and also building my endurance level and resilience level to a great height, and staying energized was part of why I had to gym. That's a very interesting one. The actual event was on August 29th on Friday. We started by 10 a.m. and by the grace of God, we concluded the event 2:48 p.m. on Saturday, August 30th. And it was really a very interesting moment, teaching for more than 28 hours. And one thing I would say is that leadership was not just taught, it was caught. and it was lived out before a watching world. And the event was attended by a diverse audience, students hungry for direction, pastors seeking fresh perspectives on leadership, entrepreneurs, CEOs eager for practical wisdom to gain all those insight, and politicians who also want, to know how to lead, to gain good perspective on governance, music artists, business leaders, professionals from multiple industries. We also had citizens from the Calgary Board of Educators.
Hi guys, my name is Tia and I was the coordinator for the Ushers and Greeters team with the Guinness World Record longest leadership lesson with Peter Adeleke. And I must say I had such an amazing experience from the beginning to the end. Some of my roles included creating a welcoming atmosphere for all attendees, team members, vendors, managing attendance. So we had 4 sessions with 20-minute breaks in between, just keeping track with the sign-in process of all those who attended so we can be able to provide them their certifications, as well as post-production aspect also included certification development. But on the day of, I was on the move, answering different questions that all attendees and everyone involved in the program might have had, managing a lot of the different logistics. It was such a fantastic experience. I learned so much. So how I came to know about this program actually is through my friend Peter. He invited me to be a part of his team. And first thing I thought was, wow, this is a really ambitious goal. Peter is actually the first person I've met in person to attempt Guinness World Record. I've never met anybody who is as brave, audacious, and driven to accomplish such a vision and a goal. And I just had a strong feeling in my heart that, this would be accomplished. And, I'm a strong woman of faith, and I believe that, number one is submitting it into God's hands. And everything else, I could just tell the diligency to make sure every aspect was, done well, and just, delegating tasks and keeping up with each coordinator, but also each group. And I just had to take a minute to just commend Peter, because he is a really driven, really goal-setting, goal-achieving person. And I think that's also one of the aspects of leadership, is having a vision and being able to equip other people and give them the resources to follow and accomplish a shared vision. And I really truly believe that is what Peter did through this project, through this initiative. And it was just amazing to see how a physical event showed a lot of the displays of what he was teaching. And it was just really such a beautiful experience. It really showed me, I really learned more about myself. I was able to identify some qualities in myself and just really understand my style of leadership even more better, and able to articulate it better as well.
The breaks were so short. We had short breaks. The reality was tough. I didn't even hit a single meal because I was just staying hydrated. And a few weeks before the event, I saw my family doctor, Dr. Ebitoye, and he ensured that I had to stay hydrated, because speaking continuously for that long, and physically it was demanding, but God's strength and God's grace was enough for us. Right, so by the time the lesson concluded, the room was buzzing with celebration, with reflection and horror, and people had not just witnessed the record, but they had witnessed resilience, vision, and leadership in action. Participants walked away feeling empowered, with deeper insight of servant leadership. Doing a kind of large-scale project like this, like I was talking about a quote by Theodore Roosevelt, if there was no war, a great general won't arise. So spiritual warfare too. Of course, you want to break a record, people will break you before you break your record. So understanding that, challenges that arose showed that, this is something that is worth fighting for. I'm someone that I believe so much in my vision. You can speak bad about me. Peter can be a bad boy, a bad guy, whatever, but not his vision. I wouldn't appreciate you speaking about my vision negatively. You can talk bad about my person, but not my vision. I always ensure I guide my vision jealously, and had some challenges. And I understand that warfare are indicators that a breakthrough season is near. And for devil to be able to sow tears, right, there has to be wheat. New levels bring new devils, right? And every challenge is a divine announcement that your breakthrough is loading, right? So for someone watching me, you're trying to do something big, something large scale like these, right? You need to understand that the challenges you're facing, you're facing it because of the fact that there's something big coming your way. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. So it's normal if you face opposition, it doesn't always mean you're off track, but many a times it could mean that you are on that exact path God wants you to walk in. And when you're on that exact path, it comes with a lot of challenges, right? Picture an eagle. An eagle must face difficulty, must face like a violent winds to soar higher, right? So in the same way, challenges are like signposts of elevation. So that new chapter you are envisioning, right? When you face challenges, don't give up in your dreams. And so what next for me is creating more content and into leadership curriculums and masterclass, and looking forward to invitations to speak at events, across the globe, Canada, Nigeria, US, and sharing the story of breaking limits and creating more leadership content, more resource, expanding the body of work, and a lot more. Just watch out, keep watching out, stay tuned. And I know that if you've gotten this book, Born to Lead, Called to Serve, you would also have more testimonies in your leadership journey. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section which part of this video was inspiring to you. I remain Peter Trailblazer.